stress for that. But it is what it is, man. I hear y'all conversation. So I got a teenager in school. And I'd rather have my son locked up than somebody might beat him half to death. Okay? So that is what it is, but it's consequences to that. If I give my son permission to take a weapon to school, then there may be consequences with that. And as a man, I'm gonna have to take that. I'm gonna have to look them police in their face and say, look, them two dudes was banking him and he stabbed him. You know what I mean? So y'all say, allegedly, because I would never just say that, right? But knowing in my heart, and when I'm sitting in that courtroom, I'm gonna get him a lawyer, I'm gonna do what I can do, but I'm gonna know in the back of my mind that I shouldn't allow him to take that knife to school. Right? So it's the choices we got in this world. And I think African Americans need to stand up to them damn choices. So if you don't have a problem with your kids taking weapons to school, right, then don't cry about it if something happened. You know, you rather get caught with it than without it. That's my point. I just want to say that. So, but I'm not going to cry and act like he's supposed to have weapons on school property or at school events, because that's endangering the lives of other children, white, black, green, or purple. And I ain't picking no sides. I'm looking at the babies at this point. That's the problem. No conflict resolution. Because I come up in the era, we put these up. White boy come up talking crazy, I'm going to bang him in his mouth. I ain't going to reach and get a knife and stab. I'm going to bang him in his mouth. Right? One or two of y'all. Somebody, I ain't at no event by myself anyway. So I'm going to protect myself. So just to get the knife and stab him and potentially spend the rest of my life in prison, man, it's choices, man. So that's how he felt. He felt like they're going to bank him. And he stabbed him. He felt like he want to be in a tent because my daughters ran track. And at those track meets, they have different tent for different schools. They go to two separate schools. So if my daughter going and up, no matter how hard it's raining, because it's been raining at some of these events, right? My two sons play flag football. They all got tents. When you get in an opposing team and opposing team's tent, there's going to be conflict. We can't sit here and act like it ain't, right? Ravens, Steelers, man, the fan get on the wrong tent. It's gonna be some problems. We gotta teach our children to think they things all the way through, because we never want them in a situation where they may have to potentially take the lives of somebody else. That's what I'm saying. I ain't picking no sides on this. I'm Black Power all day, every day. But I just want y'all to think about the whole situation. At the end of the day, I'm glad that brother is still here, right? I'm sorry he opened his mouth and said the things he said to them damn police, because he don't owe them nothing. Yeah, we got to teach our kids better than that.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
I just want to make that point. We got to teach our kids, shut the hell up, bro. Right. What are you talking about? You didn't do nothing. Shut up. Sit down, and let me come get you out of jail.
Right.
That's his mistake right there. I'm glad he's living. I'm glad he got his life, but he got to shut the hell up, yo. Simple as that. When the white man got you, yo, shut up, because he give you rules and regulations to that. You don't got to say nothing.
Right.
Underage, wait till your parents get there. Let me handle it. So that's where I'm at with the whole situation.
Again, I don't know exactly what happened under the tent. None of us do. What I will say, though, I've raised 8 children, including 4 sons, 4 daughters. When my children were teenagers, I taught them how to avoid conflict, but they also had some basic type of self-defense weapons on them. You know, my daughters did have mace, you know, and it's a tradition, and we some knife carriers in my family. You know, we don't rob people though, but we are some knife fans. I got my first knife when I was a teenager. I passed one to my son when he was 1. Thank God he never had to use one. It was just purely for self-defense purposes, last ditch effort if needed. You know what I'm saying? And so like you say, I'd rather he be caught with one than without one, you know. And you'd hate that they be in a situation where they have to use it. But if they have to defend themselves, my thought as a father is, if I don't want you charged for murder for defending yourself. If you got to get in trouble for that weapon, then that's a whole nother story. So there are going to be some consequences, but we can't fault the community for fighting to make sure that the consequences are fair. Now, we know historically that's not the United States MO, especially in Texas for young black males. I'm from Texas, right? But at the same time, at the same time, we want to integrate. We want to be in there. We want to tell our children, you got the rights that everybody else have. Well, when they start acting like it, we can't back up and say, you should have known since you was black, you can't do what they do. We can't backtrack. When he went out there and acted like a first class citizen, let's just say for conversation's sake, it was actually self-defense, and that he was a scared little kid who pulled out the knife, thought that he was about to get beat half to death, pulled out the knife and didn't know where he stuck the knife. Because the average person in the heat of the moment is just jugging.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree.
And he just so happened to jug in a fatal area and took that life.
Yeah, I don't think he tried.
I don't think it was intentional.
No, not at all. No.
Yeah, I don't think he stood over him and this.
That wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't like that.
This seems like a get off for me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I'm in total agreement with you. But they're gonna say, being ignorant of the law, yo, that. So what? And that's my point. We're in a space where, man, we're not catching them breaks like everybody, man.
Right.
Not unless you pay for it. Not unless you pay for it. Like you gotta have some serious lawyers, right? I'm saying I come up in a neighborhood where it's crazy as it may sound. You can actually look at the brothers I grew up with, the ones that got lawyers. Yeah, I'm saying they got off with damn near everything. The ones that didn't stay locked up. Now, should it be that way? It should not be that way.
Right.
They only, like we already know to get a Jewish lawyer, a good Jewish lawyer. Dr. Matt, you know my lawyer?
Yeah.
They end up locking my lawyer up.
And speaking of that, this is what's gonna piss them off more, because he comes from a middle-class black family.
Yeah, he wasn't no crazy man.
And they have the means to get a lawyer.
Yeah, he could be all right. I just wish he wouldn't have said nothing.
But that's going to make the backlash. I know Texas. Yeah. When you're a Negro with something and can fight back, they get madder at that.
Mm-hmm.
And so his family's going to have to be on the lookout because they're not safe right now.
Yeah, you got to step up.
The bond and get him out. He's not safe right now. I'm from the state where they used to drag you out the jailhouse. It wasn't no trial.
Yeah, no, you're right. I've been down there. Y'all got. I've been when you had your school down there.
Yes, sir. And you ain't see no Fort Worth PD nowhere around.
No, you got to have your own. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I like for me, I just hate to see us in these types of situations, man. Like we need to have self-defense classes because he could have just beat them white boys up. Like I ain't never got beat up by a white boy. I don't understand that. Like my hands beat you good for them. They trying to wrestle. I'm gonna take a half step back, right, and hit them with the uppercut, blow my fist up, because they running at you full speed. So I'm gonna blow my fist up and sidestep them and knock them out. That's always been my. If I ain't got to stab you, you ain't good enough for me to stab. You ain't that athletic like that to get me like that. That's how we was raised.
Right.
It probably was crazy, but that's how I came through the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't gotta stab you. But he probably but I'm saying Karmelo might have been a little small. I don't know the size of him. Football players are large.
Linebacker. Metcalf and his brother, two white guys.
Big boy. Yeah, big boy.
And Melo's a track athlete. So he was outside.
Different side. Yeah, that's not. Yeah. So I'm thinking
Texas was a stand your ground state. It is. It's one of the most liberal weapon carrying states. You carry a gun in Texas, except on certain places, right? But really, it's a stand your white ground state. It's really not a stand your black ground state.
So he just gotta. I mean, at the end of the day, man,
rich ground state.
the best they gonna be able to do for him, man, is that he don't get charged with first-degree murder, man. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
The fact that he had that at a school event, a track event. That's what's gonna cost them right there, because you're not supposed, like they check us when we go in these basketball games, these track events, man. They checking you, and they got a big sign there, bro. Like, you have a weapon if you bring a weapon up in here if you want to. So now we got to deal with the fact that he's never gonna get past that. Now it's the intent, right? And I'm arguing that based off of the stated facts, based off what the young brother said, based off what all the witnesses said, man, that he wasn't trying to murder nobody, man. He was trying to protect himself, man.
But wait a minute, Unc. I got to interject. You saying that he's not going to get around the fact
No,
that
you
he
can't.
had. Well, I mean,
Can't.
Kyle Rittenhurst got around the fact that he actually ran and got the AR and pursued people that weren't pursuing him, right? I mean, he got around that fact. Is that correct, Unc?
Was he on school property?
It don't matter. It's not about. Listen to what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You know, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're saying it's no way. I'm not
Around the
comparing.
school property issue, not
No,
around what you're
no,
saying.
no. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
All right.
It's always raised around it. That's what I'm saying. So you're saying he can't get around the fact that he was on school property, wasn't supposed to have it. But it's incidents that have happened, right? Where the obvious, we're like, man, how Kyle Ritten going to get how would Kyle Rittenhouse get away with going to get the damn AR, crossing state lines, and still getting found not guilty with a defense? Hold on, with a defense that he was defending himself. How did Zimmerman, hold on, how did Zimmerman get around the fact that he pursued Trayvon? Trayvon wasn't pursuing him. He was actually the aggressor. And there was loops. You get what I'm saying? They got around that. So I just think that when you have the right complexion for protection, they find ways to get around things. That's my point. I'm not saying that these other two incidents, they were on school property. The point that I'm trying to drive home is that when you had the protection, when you had the complexion for protection, there's always some workarounds when the situations like that. It seems like with us, brother Unc, we gotta follow the rules. We gotta stick to the rule. I'm just saying, Unc, I'm saying with us, he shouldn't have had it on school property. He ain't getting around that. But it's been other instances where people have gotten around things, brother Unc, because they had the complexion for protection. That is my point.
And to that, in Texas, it's all about location restricted knives. It's about the length of the blade, right? Anything over, and I'm reading the law right now, 5.5 inches. Anything under 5.5 inches, you're good. Anything over 5.5 inch blade, is bad. And if you're under 18, that's going to juvie. So even if he does because he should, if it's rule self-defense and he has to deal with the knife, that's a juvenile charge. Even for adults, it's just a fine up to $10,000 in imprisonment 2 to 10 years. That's a far cry from murder or manslaughter, right? If it's self-defense, there should be no manslaughter conviction. There should be no murder conviction. If it's just down to possessing the weapon on school grounds, that's going to juvenile, and he has no priors. That would carrying a knife would be probation.
Well, there you go. There you have it. You need to get some good lawyers, lawyer up, and then we gotta. So, like, I hear what you're saying, Doc, but I want to let you know that people have been mass shot on school properties, right? And so it's a heightened thing, right, with weapons. You know what I mean, at school events and school property because of the mass shootings that have occurred. And so, you know, that's in the forefront of everybody's head is weapons in schools and how to protect our kids from coming to schools. As a matter of fact, they lock the doors now. You got to ring the bell, all kind of stuff to get into these types of things and events to get checked. So it's a lot to go with that, Doc. So yeah, it's always a workaround. That's why it's the law. It's always a workaround.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit here and think that we're going to always get the workaround. Like, I'm not sitting
That's
here
what I'm
thinking
saying.
it's
No,
fair.
hell no.
So
No,
I'm not.
I'm with you on that.
So that's why.
That's
we
the
got to
point.
think.
That's the point that I was making.
Yeah,
we don't
but
get
that's
it.
crazy. Like we come from slavery. Like, if you sitting here thinking that the shit gonna go your way, then you're not thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So even when I broke law, I was already thinking. You got to know that. Hold on, just me walking down the street is a crime in Baltimore, Maryland. Right? They could just pull me over for no reason. So I never was dirty because I know the double rule. White boy can have a key on him. The police walk right by him and snatch us up. So I already know that. So I'm double thinking it. Right? I'm not asking. I don't need you to give me a break. If I'm breaking law, I'm breaking law. Breaking law is breaking law. I don't need no breaks. You ain't supposed to expect no break. Right? So my point, what I'm saying is, we don't got to look for the breaks. I'm saying, as serious as the people as we are, right? I sit here and I look at you two individuals. I look at y'all two, bro. And I don't mean no harm. I've never heard y'all give a damn excuse for raising kids and teaching them. I seen y'all in action. So I be hearing y'all sometime, right? I be like, okay, we supposed to help the people that don't got the that we got. I agree. Everybody don't got what y'all got. Everybody don't got what I got. And I don't expect African Americans to have what we have because we have no excuses. We have a no excuse program. Simple as that. That's what we do. We're going to do the scientific literacy, right? We're going to have our schools. You're not running around like Umar Johnson acting like you doing something, bro. Right? For how many years, yo, have we heard this man act like he doing that with all the excuses, bro? You've never given an excuse. You never begged nobody. You just did it. Mm-hmm. Same with you, Dr. Oyamayat. On your own, right? Point blank. Like, that's what you're doing. You're not trying to hit what you can't do. I'm saying is I am never afforded an excuse. I can never say I can't do this because of this, because I sold dope and it didn't matter. I was not afraid of white people when I sold dope. I wasn't afraid of the law. I wasn't afraid of the United States government because the United States government locked me up and I still did it. So that means I'm not afraid. That means I can take the same right and do something positive to help my community, regardless of what they say I can do. Mm-hmm. I can step up, but that does not mean that everybody got that same vigor that I got. I'm not saying that. Those that don't got the vigor, people like us are supposed to help. We're supposed to reach down and help those so they can see through. I see the fog. I see through the fog. I understand how to start a business, right? I understand how to hook up with a Dr. Mayat, you know what I'm saying, and have her back and make sure she's straight. You know what I'm saying? I know how to be around good company. Like you, Baba Amin, right? Who educating the babies. I don't make no excuses. I get in the goddamn room with y'all, right? I make y'all keep me in that daggone room. Regardless of how rough around the edges I be, man, we got a mission here, man, to make sure these kids are literate and understand their history accurately and making sure we don't end up in situations that we can't handle. That's our job, and that's what we do. We make no mistakes. We make no excuses about it, yo. And I feel like that's revolutionary for me. A revolutionary don't got no damn excuses. Because guess what? If I die doing it, I don't know. I ain't make no excuse. I'm dead. I don't even know about it. I'm going to end it right there.
Let me ask you this, this is a good segue into this. Two Americas. So when I sat and watched this whole thing play out online and listening to folks, their thoughts, their ideas and thoughts about what transpired between Austin and Karmelo, I thought about Two Americas, not Two Americas. I'm sorry. It was called The Other America. That was a speech that Dr. King gave at Stanford University in 1967. And basically in the speech, he was saying that, he called it the other America, but he's saying there are two Americas, right? There's an America that is experienced by people who are labeled as white. And then there's this other America that is experienced by people classified as non-white. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I asked the two of you brothers right now, before I give my opinion, I do want to hear what you all had to say. What are your thoughts about that in 2025? Do you think that an other America exists, the other America that Dr. King described back in 1967, where he said in this other America, people face, racism and poverty and inequality. And so do you think that this other America that he described in 1967 still exists when you have situations like Carmelo Anthony and Austin?
Oh, you going for me? Okay. I believe there's always been multiple America. This is a capitalist society. So it's not going to be, America's not going to be the same for the rich as it is for the poor. Definitely America is not the same for African Americans as it is for white Americans. One of the most powerful tools that the rich use is to weaponize racism with the white poor, so they can weaponize them against the black poor, so the poor won't come together and make change and build rainbow coalitions like Fred Hampton was trying to build in Chicago. In 2025, economically, there's definitely more than one America. We all are not definitely experiencing the same country. Sometimes the rules can be the same and still be unfair. For example, there are rules in schools where if you fight, you get a $500 fine. Well, a $500 fine is not the same punishment for a rich family as it is for a poor family. That's not the same America. So $500 is a bill in my house. $500 is change, is dresser money in your house. You see what I'm saying? Definitely, America is just as separated and even more segregated today than it was during the period that we call segregation, because integration was actually pseudo integration. Malcolm X said that segregation was when institutions from outside of your community control the institutions inside of your community. We were taught that it's just about who can use what water fountain.
Exactly.
We're more segregated today, or just as economically and politically segregated today as we were then, right? And so, yes, there's still there's two Americas. There probably will always be. My focus is, what kind of America do we want to have? And are we spending too much energy trying to be a part of somebody else's American experience and not maximizing our own?
Brother Ankh.
Yeah, like I never have time to even think about that. Cause then it put fear in my heart. You know, like when you step on the gridiron and play football, you know the team standing over there then won 10 straight games. And you know you got the talent on your side. And you know you're on their home court, the refs on their side and all that. But I ain't sitting there thinking that they're gonna beat us today. I'm going into that game because I know I'm prepared. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm serious at what I do, right? I know I'm a champion. I know I come from a long line of champions. When I step on that damn field, I feel like you put your damn cleats on same way I do, even though you cheated. I understand that. So I'm never sitting around worrying about 2, 3, 4 Americas. I'm thinking they need to worry about me and what I'm going to do to you on that gridiron. So for me, I never worry about it being 2, 3 Americas. I always want to put myself in a situation because money talking, bullshit walk.
But the question wasn't whether you're worried about it. The question is, does it exist?
I never know that. I'm saying I never know it. I never know that. I hear y'all say it.
It's not whether or not you're worried about it or you're harping on it or you're fixated with it. It's just, does this exist?
And I said, I have no validation to prove that 2 Americas exist. I know we built America, right? I know America is just as much ours as anybody's, and I'm not giving them that real estate. I'm saying we helped build this thing, man. For them, all our labor, all our ingenuity, we wasn't just laborers at building this damn things. We had technicians, we had engineers, right? Farming, agriculture. We brought that to this damn country. I'm not giving them none of it. We fought in all the wars. I'm an ex-Marine. True. What we talking about? We died for this country. Fought in the Korean War, the Bad Pigs, World War I, World War II. Hell, Hitler looked us in the face when we flew them damn planes. Like, come on, man. Like, we changed the war in World War II. What we talking about here? I'm not giving them nothing, right? They can talk that talk all they want, yo. This is just as much our America as theirs. So I don't want to hear about 2 Americas, and I'm a damn sure fight. If it is 2 Americas, I'm going to make sure it's one that look out for us. That's where I'm at with it. So, gosh, maybe you see that.
Well, our ancestors definitely had to fight for more than one America. Because they
fought.
They did. They fought for the country of the United States. Then they had to get back and fight for our country. Remember the 17th Infantry in Houston, Texas in the early 1900s that had to go to war with the Houston Police Department, and how over 100 of them were not only court-martialed, but executed for defending Black people against the police department in Houston. So they fought for 2 Americas. They had to fight for the United States of America. Then they had to come home and fight for Black America. And those lines, whether we want to acknowledge them or not, these folks have a way of reminding you that they exist.
That they exist, absolutely.
Y'all got my back then.
You better listen.
Y'all got my back. Like, I can't look behind me like that. I can't walk through that way. I can't walk.
I don't think it's necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily looking behind you. I think it's.
Saying for me.
No. I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, I don't think it's necessarily looking behind you. I think it's looking at what's in front of you and being honest about what you see. So, for example, you and I were on the telephone the other day, and I forgot how you and I started going at it, but we started talking about racism in America and the black struggle, and you were like, that's an inferiority complex. And I'm like, brother, no, it's not. Like us being real about what we see, about this cultural reality that we are experiencing is what we see. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessarily making up excuses or operating with, an inferiority complex or self-defeat. But this is what it is. You're saying I'm looking behind me. No, I'm thinking I'm looking dead out in front of me, and I'm seeing America for who she is or what it is. Even Barack Obama recently came out, and I could play his statements. I have the clip queued up. Barack Obama said he's at a point now where he's questioning the ethos or the ethos of America, the character of America. He said he's there. He said, given everything that transpired, he said, look, he said, when I was in office, he said the stuff that this administration is doing, he said, I couldn't have dared gotten away with that in 2008. So he said, I'm over here even questioning the character of America, right? The spirit or the essence. What is America? And so you had people like that saying that, so that's not looking back or to not. No, it's looking at things for what they are and dealing with them accordingly.
Yeah, you kind of took my words out of context. What I was talking about when we use European terminology to actually frame our ancient civilizations, I feel like that's an inferiority complex that you can't just make a determination on your own. And I always feel like let the ancestors speak. You should not go into an indigenous population and put your mindset on them, and particularly a colonial mindset. And I felt like that was actually inferiority complex.
But we weren't talking about that. We were talking about racism in America.
Yeah, so I talked about the residue of racism, and when you think it's gone, Trump kicked up the residue. It's there.
He sure did.
United States of America tell you that racism is systemic. So I've never spoke against that. I simply say you need a certain amount of the population just fucking crash out. I'm a crash out, Doc. I ain't think about none of that. I don't got no fear in my heart. And I'm not saying because other people think about me in fear. I say for me to survive in this world, right? I can't worry about 2-3 Americas. I got to focus on what I'm doing for my family. I got to focus on nurturing my friendships. I got to make sure things is right. Like that's what y'all do. Y'all Pan-African, right? I don't look at myself as being that, right? And I'm saying we need this variation right here so they can't kill us all. There has to be variation in thought. If we all think the same way, they're gonna get us.
I say.
That's what I'm saying. I do not downgrade or take away from what you see. You see the world through your eyes and your struggle. I see the world through my eyes and my struggle. And I say we're more powerful together, right? So I know y'all not a liar, right? I'm saying I'm a warrior class. I know my weapon. I know the weapon I got. You know what I'm saying? I know what I got. I seen it. I see the vision. I see where we going. I can't stop right here and worry about that. That's what I'm saying. Because that's who I am. That's what make me me. If I lose myself, then I lose, man. I can't always 2 Americas. Then it's gonna make me iffy. Well, maybe I shouldn't invest in this, or maybe I shouldn't take this chance because they're gonna take my money. Do you know people? And y'all know what I'm talking about, man. You got people that actually walk around here, yo, afraid to invest their money in their own business because they think somebody gonna take it from them, the white man gonna take it from them. You know what I'm saying? Doc, you told me about how we was afraid to put our money in banks and stuff like that. Man, you cannot worry about that. That cannot stop you from doing what you're doing, man. And I think that's the real thing. It's a lot of times, right? The thing that really it's the unknowing that had people afraid. Not really knowing is what people really make you shaky. Well, every time I want to get up, they're gonna knock me down. I'm saying it's a lot of us, Doc. Not talking about y'all two, but there's a lot of us, man, that are actually afraid that if we do get ahead in something, the white man gonna take it from us. I'm saying I can't think that.
A lot of us don't even start because of that belief.
That's
Exactly.
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
At the Uhuru Academy, we teach our students that they global citizens. There's nowhere in the world, you know what I'm saying, that you can't go and you can't conquer what it is, right? Don't worry about being at the table, build a table. Like that's the attitude. You see what I'm saying? But at the
Yeah.
same time, look what happens in the Carmelo Anthony case, because even early in this conversation, the sentiment was kind of like, oh, when black folks can't get a good lawyer, they get locked up. Or man, he gonna have to pay for this. He gonna have to pay for that. But using the logic you just used, he should be in there like, I ain't worried about nothing. I ain't worried about this because I'm gonna get a good lawyer. I know it was self-defense, and I'm gonna fight this with that same kind of vigor.
Yeah, that's how I would do it. Especially if I'm
Right?
carrying a knife for me,
Right?
I'm gonna carry it
Right?
like that. I
Yeah,
got
and I
to.
want people to caution that learning that it exists, right? The purpose is to defeat it, not to be defeated by it. Right?
Exactly. That's my point.
But
That's
when
my
you
point.
don't know it's there and you only encounter it when it encounters you, then you'll catch yourself not being prepared.
That's right.
Absolutely. We're at
That's
war.
right.
We're at
We're
battle.
at war. And in
Yeah.
war, no matter how scary the enemy looks, you must examine it in all of its facets. And don't examine it from an inferiority complex. Just examine it as a scientist. This is what it is. Find out
Exactly.
why. You don't just say things like, they gonna stop us. Well, who is they and how do they stop us? And how can we stop them from stopping us? Instead of making them omnipotent, as soon as we get it, they gonna take it away. Who is? I remember when I started the Hoover Academy. Plenty of people told they not gonna let you start a school. I said,
You see?
15 years later, I ain't met they yet.
Come on, man. See,
Who is they?
now I know you know. Now I
Yeah,
know you know.
I
Who the
know
hell is
exactly
that?
what you're saying.
And Chef trolling though.
Yeah,
And Chef trolling. He
yeah,
trolling, Doc.
yeah.
He
And the
trolling.
cool thing is this,
He
though.
trolling. Chef
The cool
trolling.
thing is this, though. I study they, and I really know who they is,
Who
and
is
we've
they?
charted a path to where I haven't really had to encounter they, and it's been intentional. Because there's a lot we can do without coming face to face with they. But when I do come to face with they, we're prepared.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
well.
And
Hey,
I think that you should always analyze, what's around you. Always analyze your situation, analyze your condition, to sit and work, to come up with or to create viable solutions to survive and thrive in your environment. And I don't think that, you know, um, analyzing your condition, analyzing your environment and then being truthful about it has anything to do with an inferiority complex or self-defeat. I think it's just being real at, where you are. I think sometimes Baba and Brother Unc, some people are just damn delusional, if you ask me. Um, People are very delusional. I know that Unc, when we were on the phone, you made the statement, Dr. Mott, are you saying that it's different from the average black person and the average white person? Are you saying it's a difference? Do you really think it's a difference between an average white person and an average black person? And my response to you, Brother Unc, was yes. I said yes. I said, look at the median income of the average white family or the in the average black family. Just look at the median income. I think the median income of black families is what, $50,000. Median income of white families is 125,000. Yes, it is a difference between the average white person and the average black person. And so I don't think that saying
I
that
argued that.
is.
I argued that.
Oh no, you didn't argue it. You didn't
Oh,
argue it. You didn't argue, but you
yeah, because
asked me.
I
You
know
asked me.
yeah, but and then I recall the statistics, of course.
Yes. Okay. All
Why
right. So
is that though? The
yeah.
question would be is what? Why is that?
Well, I would say slavery and I would say systemic racism. Absolutely.
And
Yep.
So
oppression.
let me say this.
Yes. Absolutely.
I got a great example right here.
Absolutely.
Jewish community. They take pride in their history. They're not going to allow United States and nobody else to pick and choose over their history and tell them what they can teach, what they can't teach. They don't worry about you teaching Jewish history in school, about the Holocaust, about none of that. They don't need you to do that because they have taken on the responsibility, which they should, right, to teach their own history and their own story. A lot of times we worried about people you can't teach the history in our school. Wait a minute, bro. Like we are responsible for teaching correct history. And oh, by the way, don't you mess up that Jewish history because
That's
they're gonna
right.
come for you. Don't you act like you're a black Hebrew and play this game. I dare you. We're gonna take millions of dollars from you. On the other hand, our community, we teach pseudo history as if it's is it. When we got black scholars, black scientists in all fields, right, that can construct our history properly, we refuse to do it, and then we cry about it. Not everybody. We cry about how somebody else don't teach the history to us. We don't need nobody to teach our story, bro. We are proficient and educated enough to give people accurate African and African American history, and we smart enough to look at the goddamn map of Africa and know it ain't one damn country. We smart enough to know that. We smart enough to know that there's different separate ethnic groups in Africa with different shared histories. We smart enough, but we let the buffoons amongst us act like Africa is just one place. It's actually not, right? And whether you are lighter skinned African and may look like you European, you still African. Whether you jet black and you so black I can't see you at night, you still African. Whether you got a different type of social or spiritual system that venerate the ancestors, you still African. We make all Africans the damn same, which is high level buffoonery to me. That's called disrespect. Why do we do that to our story? All that's in the game, Doc. I'm saying we got to stand up for our own self, man. The way we stand up for ourselves, yo, is get the pseudos away from us, educate ourselves like we supposed to, put ourselves in a position where we don't need everybody all the time. That's my point. We should at least do the things we can do. You got Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, right? My two heroes. I make no distinction between the two, right? I'm saying they lost their lives for this thing. The fact that we can be right here and have a voice, the fact that y'all can have schools, summer camps, work with the babies on a regular basis, pick and choose who you want to teach, Doc. The fact that we have those abilities and have those controls, everybody got to take advantage of that. You got to take care of yourself first before somebody else can respect you, regardless of what's going on, regardless of whether it's two Americas, regardless. Imagine if Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was worried about how many Americans. What they did was, whatever America it is, y'all got some rules and regulations that y'all put out, and y'all wrote that down. We're going to make y'all follow that. So you can be in the other America that say you can have two bathrooms. My favorite person is A.J. Gaskin. Oh, we don't know about A.J. Gaskin? A.J. Gaskin, while Martin Luther King and them was marching, which A.J. Gaskin didn't like the fact that the kids was on the front line. He's the one that used to pay the bills in Alabama, right? When the civil rights movement got locked up. He said, you know what? He said, I don't argue with white people. They was like, what? He said, no. He said, they only respect you when you sit down at the table. When they say, what you mean? He said, well, there was a white and black bathroom in the bank where I had my money at. He said, I marched in there and said, yo, you got till the end of the day to change that situation. And what y'all think happened at that white bank? When A.J. Gaskin came back in that bank, there was no more white-black bathroom. But why could that be? This man sat down with the Kennedys and had lunch with them. He was a millionaire because he understood. He was in control of his own damn thing. He the one that supplied the funding for the civil rights movement, right? And he did it with a business acumen up here. He ain't had no guns, none of that. He did it with his intelligence. He did it with his black African power, yo, and he did it with power and force. And ain't nobody take that from him. So what we talking about? If he can do it,
to write him right out
but I think you just kind of taking things out of context. And I agree with Stanley E. I've been saying this to him a bunch of times, Stanley. You can be honest about what it is and not be worried about it. That's what I'm saying, Unc. You know, we're not saying that we're just so worried about, you know, America and what white folks are doing. That's not what this is. You know, you keep saying, I'm not worried about it. We're not saying
I'm talking about A.J. Gaskin.
No. I'm not talking about that. But you keep saying that I'm not worried about the 2-3 Americas. I'm not worried about another America. What I'm saying is that you can assess America's character and what's happening and not be fixated on it or feel, or have feelings of inferiority, or feel self-defeat and keep on pushing. No one's saying that we're worried. I just want to get that clear that, we're not worried about it. We're assessing America for what it is. That's what I'm saying.
So what is it then?
I just want to
what
get
is
that.
it? Somebody help me
get
say
that
what.
clear.
And you're understanding, since every time I say you don't gotta worry about it, I'm talking about me, right? And maybe you can do that. I'm saying I can't do that. I
So
can't.
you're saying you can't assess
I'm saying me
America. You can
personally.
make an assessment.
I'm saying I don't got time to do all that. I assess
You,
the
you don't
playing
have a
field.
time. You don't have a time. You just said it. You just
No, I'm saying I seen people do stuff in environments that they shouldn't be able to do, like AJ Gaskin. He shouldn't be able to do that in that time period. You get what I'm saying? Like, what made him special? What made hold on? What made Nzinga special? She shouldn't be able to deal with them Europeans like that in Africa during that time in the 1600s. The way she did that. What did she have? That's what I focus on. This woman couldn't have been thinking about what we be thinking about. She had an eye right there saying, "I'm their goddamn match. No matter what they do,
she was
I'm gonna
thinking
match
about it.
that."
Oh, she was thinking about it. She was thinking about it. She definitely
Nah, I
assessed.
think we saying two separate things.
No.
I think we saying two separate things.
She assessed what was happening.
I think we saying two separate things, though, Doc.
She
I
was
think we saying
assessing
two
what
separate
happened.
things.
She was assessing what was happening with her people. Absolutely. Because you got to make assessment with things before you run out of here and create solutions. You can't go out here and create solutions about something that you haven't assessed. I don't even want to talk to anybody to come talk. I don't even want to have a conversation with anybody about solutions if you have not taken time to critically assess the situation. I don't even want to have a conversation, because now what you're talking to me is BS. If you want to come to me and say, Dr. Ma, I got these solutions and I'm trying this, and you haven't taken time, to critically assess.
Yeah, we talking about two separate
situation.
things. We talking about two separate
I
things.
don't know, because if you get into a room and you negotiating with an old rich white guy, you're not going to talk to, you may not talk to him the same way that you would talk to an old black guy. You know what I'm saying? You may have some things that you're going to appeal to culturally when you deal with the black guy that you're not going to run over with the white guy. Queen Nzinga, what she had in common with AJ Gaston was that she knew how to finesse her enemy. She went and finessed the Dutch and got and weaponized the Dutch against the Portuguese, because she had to analyze the situation. Once she analyzed it, she used it to her advantage, because
there you go.
She couldn't physically defeat neither one of them.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I ain't talking about that. Yeah, y'all talking about two separate things.
What
that's not. Y'all didn't turn to that.
No,
I'm not saying run out there like a wild cowboy.
What I'm talking about is the advantage of understanding the situation. The advantage of understanding when things ain't level. That don't make you less than. When you study the levels, you can learn how to play the levels. You can learn how to play.
Yeah, it ain't in the talk though. But it ain't in the talk though.
The bathroom.
It ain't in the
to appeal to their pocket.
It ain't in the talk though.
Yeah,
some things ain't in the talk.
And AJ Gaston was also tricked into thinking inclusion was part of the answer, because when we started putting our money in them banks, following his example, that wasn't to our advantage either.
Hold on, what? See, yeah, we talking about two separate. You can't put no dirt on AJ Gaskin.
I ain't putting no dirt on it. I'm talking strategy. I love
AJ think Gaskin. About it though.
I'm just talking
you
about.
don't even get out of jail without AJ Gaskin.
I'm just talking about the difference between making sure they clean the McDonald's and not using McDonald's at all.
That's a point I wanted to make though. I ain't saying don't assess what's going on in America. I'm not saying when you look at that team, when you going up against Tom Brady, yo. You ain't sitting there saying, yo, he don't know what the hell he doing. That means you have not assessed Tom Brady. That's not what I'm saying. Y'all thinking I'm saying that I have not looked at the history of America. It's a glaring thing there.
It is glaring. That's why I was shocked at your response.
It's a glaring thing, but now we have to deal with, I'm saying that now we got to realize, okay, so to what degree? I know y'all not sitting here telling me that the situations and circumstances that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King was faced with, that those same situations and circumstances still exist, and that same force that it did. If you was to say that,
not the same force, that's crazy.
So we can agree.
Form or force? What did you just say?
The same form and force, like that is there. Like nothing has changed at all. Y'all not saying that. Of course you wouldn't, right?
Things have changed, but
I
there's
think
still
so.
same
Yeah, I
still
think that's
racism
too
here,
hard
still
to say that.
discrimination here, still yeah, it's still
Yeah,
inequality.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's still inequality. We
Of
still dealing
course,
with
but
inequality. We're still
right.
dealing with poverty. I mean, hold on, we're still dealing with poverty, right? I mean, it was a stat that came out: 48% of single black mothers live at or below, I think, the poverty line. Like, it's still was it? I think it was 48%. I mean, so still impoverished. Still, there's inequality there. Still, racial tension. Still, discrimination.
Yeah. And we're dealing
It's
with
Still,
systemic.
failed
still
It's
dealing with
systemic.
mass
ourselves.
incarceration. Still dealing with
Mhm.
mass incarceration. Still dealing with what else? What else? Police killings. You know, you're still dealing with that stuff.
Yeah, that's not going nowhere. It's called
So
America.
so
You live
yeah.
by the
I
gun,
mean,
die by the gun.
I'm just saying. So
Criminal enterprise.
were you trying to say we're no longer contending with some of those same things that were happening in the 60s and
No, you would
70s?
only have to read the writings of the United States government that clearly say that racism is systemic. So that's not even up for the talk.
Okay,
Like
okay.
that's
The
not even
language has changed.
that's in the thing. But my point is, if we go too hard in other directions, then we saying that Malcolm and Martin Luther King that they didn't do what I understood they did do, right? And I'm saying is
What do you feel
we're in
like
a
they
long,
did?
it's a long process.
Definitely a
What
process.
we 100 something years out of slavery, 200 years out of slavery, right? And so it's not going to happen overnight. This is not a generation that gets put in the oven. Okay, that's
Mhm.
the Jewish community. They got put in the oven generation, right? We talking about generations upon generations that was fed white Jesus, that was fed Christianity, that was fed Islam, that was fed racism, white supremacy, that was fed the color of your skin is evil, dark, filthy, dirty, negative, not of God, right? And so this is a process here. I thought everybody was understanding it's a process. It's not an overnight thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a process, right? And we got to
Right.
keep pushing forward in the process. You
Right.
don't just win the Super Bowl, right? You gotta get in training camp. You gotta get your trading together, right? You gotta get right athletes on your team, right? You gotta stop letting the police of the world run through your community with the wild thing. You gotta stop letting Umar run crazy and all of them. See, that's
Yeah.
part of it. You gotta get them little teeny small things in check as you move forward. Imagine if Martin Luther King was a pseudo.
Well,
Imagine if Martin, Malcolm, and them with pseudos. They'd have had us on a wild track looking crazy. Hey, Doc, I sent you a video. It had 4.2 million views. Blue Pill, 4.2 million views, right? With 5 or 13 or 12 keys, whatever he is, right? And they was talking about chakras and crystals. Okay? This video right here might get 1,500, 2,000, right? But you say 4.2 million views. Yeah, if we don't stand up against that like we supposed to, we let that slide. Oh, go ahead, let that slide. Really? 4.2 million
yeah.
views? What do we really care about? Are we fighting this fight by ourselves?
No.
And then make the excuse when somebody get locked up. See, now you want to talk about when somebody get locked up. Not talking about y'all. They be the main ones with some kind of mystical event around it. Well, you know, Mars was in retrograde. That's why he stabbed. Craziness, man. Right? I'm saying, we got to take care of our house. Take our house, right? I think it's a strong foundation right here on this panel. I see the work is real, it's tangible. And if I'm looking at the work and I'm saying, man, that's solid, that ain't pseudo. Because you know me, Doc, you say, I just see fault in everything. No, I just understand what the standard is. And I see other affluent communities, they take care of their business. They don't let you play the fake Jewish game. They on your head. Europeans don't let you
But
play
they're
the
a
fake
community.
No,
scientist game. They on your head.
you still do try to find fault
Yeah.
in everything.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
They're a community
I'm
first.
still gonna.
That's not
I'm still,
true.
okay. Well, we could that like I
Not
said, we could
true.
debate it. We could debate it.
Agree with each
We
Yeah,
other.
could
we
debate
can.
it.
No,
We
I
could
just don't
debate it.
agree with. I just don't understand the. I always say, like it's got to be y'all two, the last of the Mohicans. Y'all the last pan out. What you want me to do? Y'all the
We ain't
last,
the no,
the
we
last
not.
Yeah.
two
No,
standing.
You
no, we
absolutely
not.
are not.
You and
No, we
Dr.
not.
Saw, yeah.
No,
Absolutely
we
are
not.
not.
Yes,
No,
Yeah.
we
y'all
not.
is. But
Shout
No.
no,
out to
my
No.
Doctor.
fault.
Shout out to
Talimbe.
Doctor Saw.
No.
Talimbe on my team. Y'all the last
No,
four.
we not.
And
You know,
Dr. Kate. I'm looking at y'all like this.
I keep telling him he just not connected,
Yeah.
Baba.
Man,
It's so
whatever.
many Pan-Africanists out
Yeah.
there. There's so much going on.
And we got to be careful looking at YouTube stats because we all know that this ain't organic. Like it's not
No.
a
Nah,
reflection
it
of
ain't.
what people are really into. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, this stuff is
we
manufactured.
can't really go off of that. As someone who works in the streets and in the community, you know what I'm saying, that I can vouch that there are many of us out here working and building, but a lot of times the people who are putting in work, they don't got time to go viral. I only got time to
Damn
podcast.
right.
I don't know how Dr. Mayat does what she does. I'm like, do you sleep?
Nope, she
because
don't
you
sleep.
Look,
right.
and look, Bob, and like you said, the ones that's doing the work, that ain't even our intent to go viral. I don't
No,
care
that's
with,
not
with
even the
19.
intent,
That's
right?
not even
all
an
those cats want to
aspiration.
do,
That's
all
not
those
even
cats want speaking
aspiration.
engagements. They want to sell you a ebook,
Right.
online workshop, and a
Right.
speaking engagement. They don't give a
Yep.
damn if
A
you lift
seminar,
one
like you said, a
and put it
seminar,
to your cheek.
Baba.
They ain't worried about none of that. They ain't gonna build no physical temple that you can go to every week because then they
Nothing.
got to sit down and actually work with people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad they on here and not in the community.
That
Really
part, Baba.
messing us up. We need more of us who have tangible ideas to put those ideas in the community. That's why I don't debate much. And I love the debates because it causes people to think. But the only reason why I don't participate is my attitude is I have to build something solid around what I believe before I can say anything. I will not argue a concept. I will only argue application.
I hear you. And I think we can all agree that I appreciate the black community actually standing up and putting their money where their mouth is, though.
Come on.
On that brother defense fund right there, yo. Yeah. I think that's telling right there. I think Trump, sometimes the barrier becomes the way. Y'all know that, right? That which stands in the way becomes the way. Okay. All right. And Trump has proven you had a lot of black people that voted for Trump. You had a lot of black power people that voted for Trump, right? They spoke against Kamala. They spoke against her, right? I know she wouldn't have did it this way. Whatever it was, we thought she wasn't or wasn't black or wasn't green and purple. She wouldn't have did it like this. She wouldn't have had us running around like this, off kilter. So I'm glad that African Americans have decided to stand up and put their money where their mouth is, because we got it to do, right? And I appreciate that focus right there. And I think that's important. That's important right there to see that they stepped up to help that man legal fund. I think that's very, very important.
And that's why at times like this, I'm all right with it, because they sometimes they have to remind us who we are.
That's a shame.
Sometimes they have to remind us of that. Man, I remember when Trump came in the first time, business was booming. People was talking about, we're going to cash mob the nearest black business. Let's go. People on the news growing afros. I look up and Joy Reid got dookie braids. I'm like, God, what's going on? Even Don Lemon grew an afro. Joe Biden got in and shoot, Joy got up and put her wig back on. Lemon got a haircut. But nobody cash mobbing no more. We won again. And so here we are suffering. And just walking around talking that inclusion, making sure LGBTQs got all their rights. And that's all we talking about. Then Trump get back in office, we black again. I've been getting all kind of calls. All right.
What's deep? Black again. What's deep? It was a book, and I forget the title of it. And you talked about the I don't know how to say it. The LB, how you say it? You said it. You said it good. How you say it again?
LGBTQ.
Yeah, they changed the letters too much for me. It changed up too much for me.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you got to look the way they rebrand their movement. They actually rebrand what they was doing. All right. And that's how they got acceptance. We need to take a look at how they ran a thing, how they run a thing, right? We need to rebrand some things. A lot of times we stuck in the 50s. It ain't the 50s no more. Okay. And a lot of time our talking points and our fighting mantras fit in the 50s. We're in 2025.
But you wouldn't talk political science in your public school.
But we need to have
critical thinking in your public school.
We don't have to. Later. We don't have to. We can do it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, just understanding what we're dealing with right now. you know,
We can do it.
and so you're talking about a re-education, you're talking about a
Right.
reprogramming, you know, and that takes effort, that takes support, that takes UACI camps and the Huru academies, you know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
That
Conscious
takes that,
ingenuity,
right, conscious
pseudo
ingenuity.
killers, or
Yeah,
hold
yeah, you
on,
know what I'm
community
saying? Pseudo
skeptics.
killers. It
Mhm.
takes that to
It
make
take that.
those things happen. Because like you
There you
said
go.
earlier, it's a process, not an
Mhm.
event. And we stand on the shoulders of your Dr. Amos Wilsons and your Dr.
Right.
Francis Creswellsings and others, you know what I'm saying, who are out here thinking critically and asking those great questions. We teach our students all the time. It is not about having answers. It's about having the right questions. Right.
Mm.
And so we have to constantly ask the right questions. So when we ask, are there two Americas? That's a
Right.
good question.
That's a good question. And go ahead, Baba, because I want to. You got me pumped up now. Go ahead, Baba. Go ahead.
I'm
Because he
saying,
tried. Because Baba just, because Unc was like, I'm not worried about it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let's
You
talk
just gonna
about that.
harp. You gonna harp.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that.
I
yeah,
am. Because I
yeah,
asked, he's right. It was a good question, in which
yeah.
you did. I'm not worried about it. I ain't worried.
I mean, I don't know. I said I was honest. At least I'm honest. At
I
least I'm
said
honest.
you better assess where you are.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, that's different.
It's
See, that's
about
different.
assessment, but you took it to what we worried about and what we. And I'm like,
You just gonna
no,
run on
this
that.
is about
You
a
gonna run on
critical.
that.
This is about a critical
Run
assessment
that.
of America. And like I said, Barack literally last week, video went viral. He talked about that. He said, now I'm questioning really and I hope I'm not butchering it, the ethos or ethos of America, the character of America. That's what he's saying. I'm actually at a point where I'm assessing it. And so that's why I threw the question out at you. I said, well, do you think it's other American? I went back to Dr. King's assessment back in 67. And so, but you took it, I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. We're not talking about whether you worried
You
about
want
it.
to know if it's two Americas? Okay, let me answer the question. No, I don't think it's two Americas. I think it's the goddamn America we stand in and how we gonna make it. That's what I think. I think where we stand is America. Now, we either gonna live for it or die for it. We either gonna make the way for our families or not. Simple as that, bro. If you're gonna pay the rent, get the business, fill up the GoFundMe for 500,000 or you not. I don't give a damn for 20 Americans. It don't matter. What you gonna go? You gonna come take the money out to GoFundMe? If you do, we just all die, doc. So it don't matter to me whether it's 3 Americas, 4 Americas. We got a job to get done. It don't matter how good that team is. Yeah, the Chiefs. Yeah, they 15-0. They got their ass whipped in the Super Bowl. Yeah, Philly ain't going there thinking, hey, yo, that's a dominant team. Boy, it's two NFLs up in there. They always give it. Yeah, man, you had teams crying because Mahomes always get the calls.
Not that they were dominant, but they assess their competition.
Okay,
that's the point.
All right, but I'm saying,
always gotta hold on.
Yeah, but you gotta do that.
Always gotta assess your competition.
You gotta assess that. I'm saying I'm the head banger. I'm banging heads. I'm the offensive lineman. I'm the defensive lineman. You the quarterback. You go assess that quarterback. You the quarterback. You the quarterback. You got the doctor's degree. Right. I'm saying I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna protect you. What's the call? What's the call?
Even in your own analogy, every team is like its own ethnic group or ethno state, and they belong to a league where the owners meet and argue, negotiate, backbite, betray, do whatever they got to do to get a competitive advantage every year.
Yes.
But the key is at the end of the day, knowing they're competing, but at the same time, they all eating off this one league. Kind of like what Booker T. Washington said, separate fingers on the same hand, right? And everybody's not having the same experience. And I don't think we're asking the question to suggest that everyone should. Because that's another question. That's another good question. Should everybody experience the same America? Right? But we do have to recognize, right? That's a great question. Are there two Americas? Is there still a unique Black American experience versus a unique white American experience?
Yes.
That's a question.
Ain't it both though? Ain't it both?
The same? Do we all have the same opportunity?
Ain't it both?
I don't understand what you just said. You said
I'm saying, don't we? Okay, so we build our communities to fit, our environment, to fit our social needs and what we need. We're not building a community to worry about Europeans or even care about what they're doing. Because you
That's
got
why
to
I
care
agree.
about when I raise my kids, I'm not worrying about how you raising your kids. I'm focused on me, my family. And if I can focus on me and my family, then get that straight, get myself straight, get my family straight, then I can get my community straight, right? And if I get my community straight, right, then I can get my nation straight. If I get my nation straight, right, then I can get the world straight. So my point is, I hear what y'all saying. I'm saying at this point in the game, right? We know we're in the damn game. Else we wouldn't be fighting so damn hard. We wouldn't be loving so daggone hard. We wouldn't be caring. If there would not be no pseudo killers, there wouldn't be a conscious engineer. There would not be no Hero Academy because we in the game,
We
right?
fighting.
But we
We
fighting.
fighting.
So I know you don't think I'm sitting here thinking. Obviously, there's something going on. Is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I ain't doing it because I just like to do it. I ain't spending time away from the family because I like to do it. You people, that support us, man, they ain't just looking at us because they like to look at us, right? They know we're gonna have the issue, right? We might come at it from different angles, but we're gonna be honest in assessing what we're talking about. So damn right we're in the game, and damn right there's something going on. That's why we're here, right? But I'm saying sometimes it ain't even in the talk. If it's three Americas, then the America we in got to be the best America. How about that?
I think every day
I'm
we
with,
wake
I'm with
up, we
that. I
trying
can
to
I can
think.
take
How
that.
about that?
I can take that. But
Yeah,
you
because
said
we
I'm
got
not.
kids that depend
I
on us,
love
right?
that.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. No, I hear what you're saying. But when you did say,
Mhm.
I'm not worried about how you raise your kid. I'm only worried about how I raise my kid. I sat and thought about this
First,
sister
go
by the
ahead.
name of okay, you
Mhm.
said first. Okay, because I was getting
Yeah.
ready to say, hold on,
Yeah, it's
wait a
got to
minute.
be first. Like,
Yeah.
hey Doc, I
Okay.
can't save Africa if I'm walking out on crack valves outside my house, yo.
No,
Then I'm
that's real.
tripping. Then I'm
Okay.
tripping.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
with you.
that's what we
When you
actually
said
did.
first, I'm like, okay, but if you just said period, like I ain't worried
No,
about
no,
that, then I'm
no,
like,
because
nah,
because because
I
kids
can't
are
get behind that.
because kids. First of all, it's me. If I ain't straight, then ain't nobody straight. If my mental health ain't there, right? If my finances ain't there, if my support structure ain't there,
Right.
then my kids and my family become trash. They become very, very vulnerable. We're already vulnerable because we was in an environment of racism, white supremacy, and the residue is all over the place. It's all over our clothes right now. We see it. There's no ducking it, right? But then if I'm straight, get my kids straight, right? And my family straight. That's my cousins, my aunts, and them. They seeing it. And then it's my community. But within the community, it's kids and children. Uh, man, I seen your kids grow, Doc. You seen my kids grow, right? You didn't start off saving community. You start off raising your kids
Oh
right.
yeah. We good. I
And
just
that
thought
gave you
you
the
when you said
space.
first, I'm like, okay.
No,
I'm
no,
glad
no.
you
And
added that one word first.
you transfer those ideas to the other children in the community. Same with you, Baba. Come on, Baba.
No, we on the
You
same way with
transferred
that.
that to them the same way
We
you
on the
raised your
same way with
kids.
that. Yeah, we on the
You
same way.
raised them kids and you who real. I see, I've been there. I see y'all. I
Yeah.
seen that little teeny building and that little storefront thing there. I see you. And you still doing it.
Mhm.
And I see who you hooked up with. So now y'all have moved out of the space of got yourself right. Got you. Now you in the community. Y'all did it right. Where other people, right? Well, look at themselves and go save Africa, and their family structure is trash.
Facts.
And we
Walking out on
still have
crack
those
valves.
challenges. Yeah, and because family is a process. You know, you know that you got a family. 2023 don't look like 2015. You know, 2025 don't look like 2022. I'm Cliff Huxtable some years and Fred Sanford singing something for other years. You know what I'm saying? So that's me though. I try to be consistent. It's a process. It's a process, not an event. And again, when we say get our community together, then you got to start analyzing what is our community, because
Right.
last 60 years, the goal has been to get out of the community physically and just be proud of being Black externally.
Right.
Does that work? It has that. Now we need to look at that and say, how has that strategy served us as a community? I'm not answering it. I'm just putting it out there. Like when I see the people in the chat, they got an FBA argument going on in the chat. All I want to know is, do y'all want to live together?
Right now, there's a chance
going
I'm
on.
not
doing my thing, man. It's
oh
cool.
Lord.
I'll call
Don't get me
myself
started.
anything that has an initiative to make us a real community again. not just people that hang out together and argue together on Twitter. I don't want to come to another rally, reparations rally. I ain't rallying. I ain't coming to the conference. But if you say, yeah, we chose Stop 6 in Fort Worth, we're going to go, and the FBA lawyers and the FBA dentists, they're going to buy houses and build houses in the middle of this Black community, and we're going to build a community, a physical one. I might get my calling card. Other than that, I'm just going to go to the rally of my favorite speaker. Why would I go anywhere else?
Baba, why you say I might just get my calling card?
I might just go get my FBA card. But until then, they got to argue. I want to see these kind of arguments. We just cut the ribbon on 100 acres in South Carolina. Of course, we are the original Hebrews. Man, we just bought a plane and founded 18 farms. We are Moors. Whoever got them, I might be a Moor then. But I'm not arguing at the gym. I ain't doing that. Yeah, I ain't arguing on social media. My thing is, everybody go out there and put your money and your actions where your mouth is.
See, y'all can talk that talk. And hold on, let me say this. See, you talking that talk right now. And the reason you can talk that talk, because I can talk that talk. And guess what? I can talk that talk because I'm in the room with y'all. And I know the help I get from y'all. I know what Doc do. I know how she positioned her pieces, right? I know how you position your academy to help the community. Yo, Doc don't never walk by them. You walk and you grab people up. Now, a lot of people, you can help them, but they don't want no help. Right? And they talk a lot of trash about you, Doc. Right? They just talk crazy from day one.
I could care less.
Hold on. This the thing with why are you messing with They always say that. They always try to put that wedge. Why are you messing with Baba? Why are you messing with him? That. Cause man, hey, she put out the back call. Yo, ain't nobody come. That's why. We here for her. We got you thick and thin, up and down, in and out. Don't matter. Right? We there. We there for the long haul to support each other in what we doing. Simple as that. We're gonna make this work. Ain't no other way. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't see no way back. I crossed the bridge and blew it up. Not going back. I'm not going back to America where we looking at two separate bathrooms. I'm not going back to America.
You ain't gotta go back. It's already here. It's already.
Nah, I'm not listening to that.
It's already here.
You know what? I don't believe it.
Okay. Wait till you see.
Hey, but Doc, you know what's crazy? Look, I can't even say that. Look, I can't even say that with confidence because John F. Kennedy is here out there gonna help.
Robert F. Kennedy, but go ahead.
I call him John anything. Just say anything. Don't even say the name right. That's how crazy it is.
My mama told me they didn't have a problem with separate bathrooms. They had a problem that they didn't get to pick which one was theirs. That was their only problem. They didn't want all that hair in the sink and all that they had to deal with. That their problem that they got the dirty bathroom. That was their problem. They ain't had no issue with them being separate. We just didn't get to pick one. We didn't get to pick the good bathroom. That's the issue.
It's here. You better look at Trump's latest policies. You
think he gonna get all that off?
Oh, it ain't. Well, you better look at those new policies.
Let's talk about them.
Separate facilities. I think is now legalized. I got to go back and look, but you all can let me in the chat. I believe that he passed something that stated that facilities, having segregated or separate.
Something very specific.
Yes,
having. Look that up.
We could definitely look it up. We could definitely.
I wouldn't be surprised. I can't. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. threw me all the way out the door when you was preparing them slides for us to go into combat against the largest anti-vax community. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Del Bigtree. You couldn't have told me. I'd have cussed you out if you told me that Robert F. Kennedy was going to be head of the CDC and our health. I'd be like, get out of here. The whole time, Doc, I'm delusional. I told you I'd be delusional. Right, that's why I need you to catch me sometime because I stay in delusion. I'm like, nah, they never gonna confirm this man, the anti-vax to be head of the whole thing. Our health, no way, man. I say even if he trying to get him in there, the system gonna get it straight. So I ain't gonna let y'all scare me today. Because if I really think about it, you get my point. If I really start to think about it. If I really start to think about it, I crash out.
Who trying to scare you though?
man, if I'm saying sometimes, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes you be like, man, it's actually over. I might as well just get what I can get before I go. That's how I be sometimes. You could never say in your wildest dreams that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was going to be head of our health and be in charge of vaccines. So if I think about it too hard, I'll be like, oh my. That's why I don't try to think about it. I'm just glad that we educated and we can educate the community, right, of what they need to do. That we do not need the government to educate us on vaccine safety, on whether we should deal with medical advice and this. And we don't need that because we got it. We figured it out. We just got groups that will fight against us. And this is my problem, right? You got the Nation of Islam, right? They're anti-vax and they're not mad of me saying that, right? They don't support that, right? That's they could do that.
They have
right?
a right.
You got a lot of groups. I got videos I could put up when I'm going against quote unquote Pan-Africans sitting in a Pan-African office arguing with me over vaccines. It's all on tape, right? So people look like me and you fighting us over whether we should do the things that's for our community. Because I really have a problem with standing up for Karmelo, right? But then turn around and go against the community. And which one is it? Either you standing for Karmelo, either you stand for the health of our community, because that's the most important thing we have is our health. If you doing that or you not, make your mind up. Sit down and listen to somebody that's educated on subjects.
You have herbalists and holistic people and that have these traditions passed down in their families from generation to generation that vehemently believe that they are standing up for the health in our community when they are anti-vax. That's what they believe based on the science that they study. Because science is not as tunnel vision as people tend to think. There are multiple branches of science. There are multiple perspectives on what science is, right? And so you have that. So you have people that fight vehemently. I don't want us to allow that to take our eye off the ball, though. You can believe in vax, and next person could be and not believe in vax, but still believe in Carmelo's innocence. And
no, you gotta get out the game. You gotta get out the game.
And still not be in, because if I don't believe in your approach, like I don't like Martin and Malcolm had their differences.
Yeah, they did.
Right? Neither I would categorize as an enemy to the community, but at a certain time, both of them might have categorized the other as that.
I agree.
You know, and so two things can be true. If you don't agree with my approach, and I think that's the language that this administration and that the conservatives, what they've been able to do is put us in this either or mind state. So it used to be, I don't agree with their policies, it's bad for America. Now they say they're trying to destroy America. They're the enemy of America. That's how they talk to each other now. And they just be arguing over Medicaid. You a left-wing socialist that want to destroy the country. You a right-wing extremist that wants to destroy. So we're getting into this either or type thing.
No, we're not. I'm actually not. There's no high level science on herbs work against viruses. That's not a such thing. That's my point. We actually arguing over things. So my point is the fact that you're doing that and the fact that you acting like it's some kind of science is troubling when you claim to be for the community. Because in actuality, when it comes to certain things like educating in a certain way, when Doc talking, what she talking about, what she's really the expert on, I stay the hell out the way. That's our problem. We don't know when to get the hell out the way. If you're not a daggone vaccine scientist, then shut the hell up. That's my point. Shut the hell up. If you're saying something that's anti that. If you're an herbalist, you're a damn herbalist. And an herbalist don't got nothing to do with high-level medical scientists, right? And all to do with a whole bunch of foolery. And see, I say it, right? It has herbs and all that. And what I'm saying, let me just finish my point. I'm saying is I'm not willing to act like herbs is going to stop a virus in 2025. That was in the 1900s. That was in 1701 before Africans, you know what I'm saying, Onesimus put the game down for him. That's an African. So I'm saying we should, I'm saying serious communities like China. China is a serious community. Guess what they got? Guess what they got though? They got a whole $1 billion herb industry. Bam, there you go. Y'all can play with that. And then they got $1 trillion medical science. So y'all can play right here, right? Play right there, but we not gonna let you take that and put that over here.
Well,
that's my point.
That's foundational and preventive stuff over here, and I get that. I get that when it's time to intervene.
No, you ain't preventing nothing.
No, what I'm saying though, you can acknowledge their ignorance, but you can't gauge their seriousness or their belief that they're doing something for the community. I've had to deal with too many people with bad ideas on this journey to throw them in the trash. I had to negotiate and extract what's useful out of that. You understand, and you got to let people have some of that so they can get engaged in something else that we have in common. That's why I started.
So guess what though?
African unity. Everybody come in. We believe in something different. Let's explore the things scientifically that we believe in the same.
Yeah, we not. See, there's a difference here. Okay. So I agree. You cannot assess how much they believe in what they think they're doing. I agree. But this is where the scam occurs. You're scamming us because you act like you know and understand vaccine and high medical science. You acting like that. So I'm getting you for acting like that. We have intelligent African-American vaccine scientists. We have intelligent medical doctors. Big up to Dr. Cater. It's a medical doctor, right? They can clearly sit down and have an intelligent conversation around that damn situation. You don't got to listen to me. So I'm not never, ever, ever letting you get that off because I can't assess how much you believe. I know you believe it's good for us. What I'm saying is, if you really care about the community, stay in your damn lane. That's what I'm saying. We got to be able to stay in our lane, yo. That's the problem. Everybody want to do every damn thing. Let the football players be football players. Make sure they give out their just due to help the community. Let the basketball players be the basketball players. Let the medical doctors be the medical doctors. Let the vaccine scientists be the vaccine scientists. And that's when we are at our strongest point. But when a regular old communicator, science advocate such as myself, you know what I'm saying, try to act like an expert, that's a problem. That lady right there, Dr. Mayer, has a doctorate in engineering. You have fools on this damn channel talk about, oh, she's just an electrician. And they laughed. They laughed. So I'm saying is some things you cannot let people get away with because you let them get away with it, yo. Then you give them an inch, they take a yard. Wow. Mm-hmm. You can't do it. It's some things that's non-negotiable, man. Our health and our education is non-negotiable because these are the tools that will help us fight against oppression. If you're in a damn house sick, you ain't fighting nobody. If you're miseducated, you're going to end up doing the same thing to you that the white people did to you. All this shit is, I'm talking about critical moments in history, right? Thurgood Marshall. Man, he defeated them with their law. He was so serious, right, that they raised him to the highest court. Suppose he was a pseudo trying to enact the Moorish law.
I can't do this. I'm done.
Where we be at?
I'm done. Baba, I'm done. I gotta go, man. I appreciate y'all coming in. Unc just hit it. He was serious. So you see how he ended with the straight face. Now, suppose he was trying to invoke Moorish law.
Yeah, y'all should think about that. Man. Come on, man. Stop it, man.
But I seriously got to run, though, because I got to submit a paper. I actually have to go over. Kendall sent me over that paper, Baba. Sent me over the chart. So I do have to run, fellas. But Baba, Brother Unc, thank you so much for the build.
Appreciate you, Baba.
Thank you for the build. Look, I appreciate everyone who pulled up. I see people on the community of skeptics, people on Baba Amin's Uhuru Academy channel on his Facebook page. I see people on IG. I see people on my YouTube. Thank you all for pulling up. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube platforms and follow our social media platforms, our other social media platforms, our Facebook pages, our Instagram pages. All right, follow the community of skeptics. Follow Baba Amin. Follow the Uhuru Academy. Follow Dr. Ma'at. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that whenever we go live, you will be notified. Baba, do you have any closing words for the listening audience?
I'll continue to study. Continue to study. Continue to learn. Think before you speak. Think before you act. Love you.
Ashe. Brother Ankh, do you have any closing words for the listening audience?
Peace and blessings.
You know what? I'm done. I can't. You can't take on nowhere, man. You can't take him nowhere. Peace and black African excellence, y'all. Peace.